What is up, y'all? Welcome to another Aloha Friday drip. This is Tyler Deveraux, Jackson Simmons Campbell. Whew.
We're here.
In for another freaking Aloha Friday, and this one is dripping while wow. What the fuck is he gonna say? That's gonna be the new intro every single time, bro. This is dropping and dripping, whatever, while we're at Peak Partnership, which is awesome. So if y'all are here and you're still listening in the shower, whatever as you're getting ready, God, well done, dude. Well done.
Well done.
Yeah.
You've heard a lot of Tyler already, and you're going to hear some more of him, which is good. There's never too much Tyler Deveraux.
Oh, well, you know what? That's why Jackson gets paid the big bucks.
Also, super pumped for this episode. Super pumped.
Sweet. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So I posed the question to the network about a week, not even a week ago, just a few days ago, for some questions that if the people in our network could sit down and do an interview with you, what questions would they ask you?
Hey.
Right? We want to provide value on this podcast. That's the whole point why we did it. Is to provide value, provide new insights, provide new perspectives for people in growth. So I figured,
that's awesome, dude.
I figured what's an even better way than asking the people that are listening what do they want to hear.
I love it.
So we got
listen right here. First off, you asked me any logistical questions. We did a coaching call the other day. And can I just riff on that for a second?
Yeah, definitely.
Did a coaching call the other day, and then I opened it up to Q&A at the end, and these questions come in, you know, anyway, these questions come in, they're questions like, I don't know, do you have an example of one?
Yeah, one of the questions was, just logistical stuff. Hey, I haven't got a confirmation email. Hey, something it was just logistical stuff.
Little things, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, and then you saw two distinct question variations, and I want to make this very clear as we go in, because sometimes I want to say this on the call, but I don't want to offend anybody, right? I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But you see two distinct questions on there. You have people that come on that are like, hey, man, so excited, to be on here. Hey, hope you're doing well. Hey, got this question that's about the business. How do you do this? How do you approach this? How do you, find these people? How do you, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Business-related, specific growth-type related questions.
Yeah.
And then you have somebody that's coming in and you're like, my email, the font was all fucked up, and I wondered if we could get some font specialists on that. And also, Tyler wondered, it's like, dude, you have this coaching call. You have a unique opportunity to be able to grill me with questions. It's interesting when you see these two distinct questions there, right?
Yeah.
I remember being on one, and one of the guys like, hey, I would like, I think that pretty much you should essentially partner with everyone to be able to do these deals, and and it was very awkward question. It was just a very awkward thing. Essentially, hey, do everything for me, right?
Right.
The next person was like, hey, gosh, I just want you to know I'm so grateful to be here. Thanks for taking the time to be on the call. And business-related question. And I was like...
Specific question.
And what I wanted to say at that point... I know I'm getting off track, dude. I apologize.
You're good. No, this is good.
What I wanted to say at that point was like... And that right there is going to be... That's how you determine who's successful or not. Right there.
Yeah.
People who understand the situation versus people who do not.
Yeah, taking advantage of that.
And I love all y'all. You can grill me with any questions... But
what questions are going to benefit you the most?
That's exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's why I'm on there.
No, yes. I'm honest. I'm really glad you brought it up. We chatted about it after on it, obviously. But it is interesting to see. You have very little time to be able to ask Tyler Deveraux, somebody that's been very successful in this space, a question about this space.
Yeah.
So take that time. Take advantage of that time to actually ask a question pertaining to whatever the subject is. That's going to benefit them, right? Not necessarily logistical stuff.
Which comes down to purpose.
Yeah.
Definiteness of purpose. Definiteness of purpose. You're asking questions that are going to help you with your definite purpose, right? Definiteness of purpose in everything that you do versus some question that really, that's where people get hung up, man, on shit that does not matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
No.
Like,
move forward, move past it. I didn't get any logistical questions when I asked for DMs.
Hey, thank God, y'all.
Thankfully, I didn't get any logistical questions, though I would have been happy to answer those. I don't think they would have ended up on the podcast, but I would have just answered them for you. No stress. No, so we did get some good questions. You good if we just dive in here?
Hey, can I do one thing before we dive in?
Yeah, definitely.
I want to give a shout out to Sai, because Sai, we always talk about, hey, it's so you don't know how things are going on the pod. You don't know, are people taking this and they are enjoying it, or are they thinking that they don't like it, whatever. And Sai's always sharing. She's always commenting something from it. She's always, and that goes good or bad. Sai's always, she's just a very positive, like upbeat person. So it's always like great stuff. But we love feedback, period, man. Feedback is that feedback loop that helps us get better. But I just wanted to give a shout out to her because I appreciate her so much every single time.
Yeah, I do too. Yes, thank you. Definitely. Huge shout out to her for sharing. Everybody that shares. There's multiple people that continuously share. Thank you for doing that.
Totally.
It's so kind, and it helps us fulfill on our definite major purpose here at the Growthcast to reach as many people as possible.
It does.
Okay, so awesome. Let's dive in here. One of the first questions that I got, really liked it, and I feel like it's a great way to kind of lead into these questions. Very first question we're going to go in today is, how do you get back up when you have fallen out of your routine? This individual goes on and continues to ask, this is a transition for all of us, and there are those weeks that you just miss the mark. How do you make that comeback?
That's a great question, man.
Yeah.
You want to know why it's a great question? It's a great question because everyone battles with that. Mm-hmm. We did a drip. I can't remember how long ago, but we talked about. Was it habits or was it? I can't even remember. But it was not missing 2 days in a row. How missing one day, that happens. Mistakes, they happen, but missing 2 days, that's the start of a new habit.
Right.
So how do I get back after I've slipped out of a habit or after it's fear. That's fear.
Motivates you.
Fear motivates the shit out of me, man.
Yeah.
If people look at fear, if you were to say fear, most people would say, if you were to say fear, is fear good or bad? Most people are going to say
it's bad.
Yeah, but I believe just fear gets this. Fear is this. I just believe it gets a negative connotation.
Yeah.
Because everything is all perspective, right? Yeah. Everything is. So if I were to say, man, when it rains, it pours, most people relate that to bad.
Right.
But you know what, man? When it rains, it pours, that relates to good. That relates to momentum, man.
Right.
Like when you're just freaking going and all of a sudden things are clicking and everything's going in the right pace, you're like, when it rains, it pours, man. Like it gets easier and easier every time because of that momentum. So fear, dude. Fear is a huge motivator, man, and it's a positive thing as long as it incites immediate action towards your definite major purpose.
That's huge.
But it's a negative thing if it stops you from taking action towards your definite major purpose, right? Yeah. So fear, dude. Fear of losing what I've gained. And like this, so fear of losing what I've gained. Fear of being, falling back into that person that, I used to be, the person that I once was,
Yeah.
We mentioned that coaching call. On the coaching call, we talked about, and actually on the drip, I talked about this too, kind of, that I don't go to networking events to drink, or that I don't drink, period. No matter what, I don't drink anymore. But we talked about specifically networking.
Right.
And that's because I was not my best self when I was doing that at all. And I never want to fall back into that. And so these little things, these little justifications, they can lead to just huge disappointment. So fear, absolutely, it's fear.
Yeah.
You guys, I love you guys. I love listening to you and Dow's extended cuts, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah.
And right at the first, you guys talked about. I think it was the last one that it's hard to keep in track. I think it was the last one that dripped, though.
We do drop a lot of episodes, so it does. They do.
I think, but I'm pretty sure it was the last one. It was the last one where you guys talked about. I actually can't remember the name of the episode, but you talked about Goggins. And how he was, that was the last one.
Yeah.
And how he's running up the hill or whatever, and he's like, "You don't know me" or whatever.
Yeah.
It falls right in line with that.
Yeah.
The alter ego. That was the name of the episode.
Yep.
That was the name of the episode, and it falls right in line with that, dude. Because I don't want to. It's fear, dude. I don't want to be that person again, man.
Yeah.
I want to. So,
I just want to note something here. A lot of the times when people think of making a decision based on fear, it's a reactive decision. It's a decision that leads to end up being nothing, really, right? So I think it's important that as we talk about fear, that you're using this fear to motivate you and, like you said, to entice immediate action, which is huge. So if you didn't write that down, definitely write that down, because I feel like that's something that gets mixed up often with fear, right? It's not that it's scaring Tyler. It's not that he's scared to disappoint himself, or it's not that he has a fear-based mindset. But he's motivated by keeping what he's gained. So I think that's just huge to note there.
Can I mention something with that, man? I love that take. Yeah. I really love that take. It reminds me of it's how you do anything is how you do everything, right? And how you practice is how you play.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of Pax's baseball game.
Yeah.
And I got after Pax. You were at the game.
Yeah.
And Pax was just not. He was practice before the game. He was being very lazy and not trying his hardest.
Yeah.
And
he just wasn't in it. He just wasn't in it.
Well, but it started with the practice side, right? And that side led into the game. And so when we were driving home, I said, dude, you'll never, like, you will only be in trouble if you don't try your hardest, because Deveraux try their hardest.
Yeah.
Deveraux, our identity, right?
Yeah.
Deveraux, we try our hardest, man. We do our best. And that doesn't mean that you're going to be the best.
Right.
You'll never hear me get after you or be, disappointed or whatever if you didn't do your, like, if you weren't the best.
Yeah.
That's not it.
Yeah.
It's trying your best. But man, how you practice is how you play, And so it's these little things in our life. If you justify one little thing, it's going to come back another way.
Yeah.
And so this internal narrative of, like, I'm not going to justify that. I'm not going to let that slide. I'm not going to let that slide. And kids bring this into me even more, because it's easier to give up on ourselves. But I know my kids are watching. And even if they're not watching, I tell myself that my kids are watching all the time, because that motivates me to death. Of like, man, they're watching me right now, how I handle this. How am I going to handle this? How am I going to take this? Like last night, Pax made a big mess in the bathroom, and this is kind of off topic, but makes a big mess in the bathroom, and then just leaves it, sand and shit.
Yeah,
leaves it.
Yeah,
and then I find it.
Yeah, that made you happy, I bet.
I was not happy. I straight up got after him.
Yeah.
You go, boy. But I was like, and here's the thing, man. He's like, I don't know how to clean it up, and I was like, you go get the frickin' vacuum, and
Yeah.
But I told him afterwards, and I was like, buddy, I want you. Okay, so how I do anything, right? I was after him. I was drill sergeant dad at this point, dude. And then he puts the vacuum away, and I go, get your ass to bed, and he gets his ass to bed, and then we go in, and that's what I love about him. I go up to give him a hug, and I gave Marley a hug. And I just feel like the energy of, like, is he going to give me a hug tonight?
Yeah.
Boy, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I go to give him the hug, and he just hugs my neck tighter than any night.
Yeah.
Because he's like, okay, Dad still loves me.
Yeah.
And that's important to me.
Yeah.
Like, important for him to know that, like, hey, man, no matter what is happening, our love is it's undeniable.
Right.
And that goes love for Paxton, and that also goes the love for myself.
Yeah.
As a person.
Yeah.
And so that comes through actions that get you to your goals, And so reminding myself all the time of, like, I'm not going to justify it, dude. This is the person that I want to become. This is the person that I am becoming. And so not little justification of, like, hey, it's no big deal, like waking up in the morning and your, alarm goes off at 4:50 and you're like, well, I mean, I'm going to sleep 15 more minutes is probably Yeah, I'm going to sleep 15 more minutes. I'm not, I'm a little tired. I got to bed 15 minutes later last night, so I'm a little bit tired. You know what? The gym, I don't know if I'm going to go to the gym today because my left pinky toe has been acting up. It probably needs some rest. Yeah, no, I'm just going to chill.
Yeah.
Versus taking accountability and being like, no, it's this. Like, for example, you come to the gym with me now. You go to the same gym and you're there at 5 a.m. You're out of your mind if you don't think that it's like, no, I'm not showing up at 5:15. I want to be there at 5 because I know that Jackson is going to call my ass out if I'm there at 5:15 and not 5. Right? That accountability. So many people don't want accountability. So can I bullet point these? This is a long answer to this question.
No, this is good.
How do I get back on track? Well, dude, number one is fear. I let that fear motivate me. Number two is my narrative, internal narrative, is a narrative in direction of my definite major purpose.
Yeah.
And then you talked about inciting immediate action. Well, fear, what that does is fear literally, it's a mechanism inside us. It's a survival mechanism inside us to help us take immediate action, things that we don't need to think about.
Right.
But if you're doing small little shit where you justify the practice stuff, then you will, when it really matters, you'll justify. Right? Because that's how you were practicing.
Right.
Then when it's inciting immediate action, you're going to do how you practiced, right? I want to tie that back in.
Yeah.
And then your internal narrative of, like, man, are you allowing yourself to slip? And then the other one is accountability. Keep people around you that are going to keep your ass accountable.
Yeah.
Do I do that to you?
Absolutely.
It's because I want you to do it to me too, and you do it to me.
Yeah.
Brittany does it my kids do it. Anyway.
No, dude, it's good. No, so just to recap, fear to motivate you to incite immediate action. The narrative that you tell yourself of that it's not okay that you missed, right? But then I want to loop that back in really quick, the narrative part. You get after yourself. Mm-hmm. You tell yourself, not okay that I missed. That's not who I am. I need to make sure I'm there tomorrow.
Yep.
But then another thing that you kind of just briefly mentioned over was that you love yourself too, and you give yourself that time to forgive yourself to be able to put it behind and move on.
Yep.
When I asked Dallas this I love this question so much because it was one of the very first questions I had for Dallas.
Sweet.
As I was trying to make these changes, and I'm continuing to make these changes.
Yeah.
One of the very first questions I asked Dallas was like, dude, what do you do when you don't do it? Like you say you do it. You know what I mean? What happens when you have a day that you slip and your mindset's not where it needs to be, your morning routine's not where it needs to be, your journaling, so on and so forth. What do you do? How do you bounce back? And his immediate answer was, I forgive myself.
That's awesome.
I forgive myself so that I can put it behind me so that I know the next day I can go out and get it done. And I think one of the biggest parts of forgiveness and apology, when we ask for an apology and say we're sorry, the biggest thing about an apology is that you're not going to do it again.
Yeah.
So if you're apologizing to yourself and you're forgiving yourself, you should keep that promise to yourself to not do it again as well.
I love that, man.
So that's huge. That was a huge thing for me, and it continues to be in the forefront of my mind when I do slip because you slip, I slip, we all slip up, and then
we all slip.
And then
Can I
last
mention one thing with that too, real quick though?
Yeah.
It's another thing that I told Pax though last night. Is I said, dude, the fact that you just left it tells me that what happens is you didn't know how to clean it up. And it wasn't that he didn't know how to clean it up.
Right.
Okay. So what happens is you just left it instead of using it as a learning option. Somebody who's trying their hardest, I brought this back in.
Yeah.
Trying their hardest, being their best, is going to come out and be like, oh, hey, Dad, I made a mess, and I don't know how to clean it up. Can you come teach me how to clean this up? Then the narrative together is very different. It's like, yeah, absolutely, dude. Hey, you know what? I'm proud of you, buddy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Here's how you do it. Something like this, you want to, you miss the opportunity to learn. And so if you are truly slipping up and you take that as an opportunity to learn so that you can become better, then we're good, Yeah,
that's awesome. And then the third and final thing was accountability, putting somebody there that's going to make sure that you don't slip up again.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't like that, dude, because it creates pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
pressure's a good thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Dude, it's a beautiful thing. Like, you think about this, like, the higher you climb, the more pressure is there.
Yeah.
More pressure. Those people all the time, I know, dude. And whether this is real or not, this is the narrative that I tell myself too, which is there's people all the time looking at the sidelines being like, this motherfucker's about to slip.
Yeah.
This dude's about to slip. He's out there talking about
Yeah.
family. He's out there talking about wealth. He's out there talking about whatever, right? This dude's going to slip. I can't wait until that motherfucker slips. And I'm going to be there to let him know, like, oh, motherfucker's slipping, you know? Whether those people are really there or not.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're there or not because they're not in my circle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I tell myself that they're there. Why do I tell myself that they're there? Because that pressure makes me get back on track.
Yeah, it's kind of in line with that same pressure that there's always that the minute you go to bed, someone else is waking up to work harder than you on the other side of the planet or whatever that saying is. It goes in line with that. No, and I think that's huge. Awesome. We got to move along here. That was a great question. But let's move along here to question 2.
Okay.
When you have a team of 3, so this is more of a real estate type of a question.
Okay.
When you have a team of 3, does it make sense to split our markets up and each build a team within our own area, or put focus into one market together? Great question.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
That's another, dude. See, dude, that's a solid question because that's a tactical question, and it is. So here's the answer. No, man, you don't divide up into separate areas because if you truly understand how your team should work, your team should work like this. Your operator, imagine, do you know he, she, are they talking about their operating partners?
I didn't look into the specifics of it. No, sorry.
It sounds like operating partners, though. So your operating partners should not all be doing the same thing. So if you think about that, right? If you're all separating your teams out into, building teams up within these 3 areas, that means you're all 3 trying to do everything in one market. That's not how that works. I mean, that's how it can work at a very inefficient level. But then here's what's going to happen. Nobody's becoming the master of everything They're trying everything. They're not becoming a master of anything.
Right.
So when you do get a deal in one of those markets, if this is your structure, if this is what you're doing, and you go to get that deal to close, you're going to realize that all three of you are very inefficient and ineffective in those different roles because you haven't mastered those roles. Man, the different roles on these deals or these teams, right? You should have somebody that's overseeing, raising capital. You should have somebody and this is a true partnership, right? So you look at like Ryan and I, you know. I'm more involved in the raising of the capital. Ryan is more involved in the operations post-close, right? The operations of the deal. Melissa and Tasha are even more involved in the raising capital side, right? We all have our different roles that are in our own area of expertise, our own area of genius. And then what happens is we're not missing the mark. Or if something is missed, it's a minor overlap of something, and we can quickly both now come in because
identify it and take care of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to separate yourself out that way, you are spreading yourself so thin, and I also believe that it causes diversion, where you're not working unified. I don't know. What's the word I'm looking for?
Oh, geez, it's not diversion, but that's the only word I can think of now.
Diversion. Diversion.
No, I get what you're saying. No, it creates distraction, if anything.
Sure, distraction. That's not the word I was thinking of either. If any of y'all out there know words, we're looking for somebody to sit in office with us to help us remember words when we're talking. I can't think of what that job title is. Obviously, this is why we need you.
Okay. I kind of wanted to understand how you and Ryan did it out the gates. You guys are in very different time zones.
Yeah.
Right? And it sounds like these people have a team.
Different areas.
They're probably all in different time zones, working on different things. So how did you and Ryan go about doing that right out the gate?
Well, right out the gate, the time zone wasn't as
That's true.
dramatic as it is now, right? I was in Austin, Texas. Rise in Florida, so it's an hour difference.
Right.
Which was, it was a lot easier that way. I've never had a partner, right, that is, like, for on the real estate side, that's, like, in my same, like, you know what I mean? Like, I've always been on different time zones, so we just kind of work that out.
Yeah.
But now, so it would have been a lot harder with this different of a time zone. But in the beginning, it wasn't that big. But, dude, we worked it out, man. I wake up early, man. I like to wake up early. And so, honestly, I would wake up early, and, I'm an hour behind Rye, but I'm still 4 hours, in front of him because he wakes up late. And so, we just work together in coming together on it. But Ryan and I, how we started, is that the question?
Yeah.
So, Ryan and I knew that we wanted to partner with other operators. So, first off, we had definiteness of purpose.
Yeah.
We knew that we were going to partner with other operators with the end goal of creating a true investment, acquisitions company where we have other team members, employees that come in, alongside there. But we wanted to learn from other operating partners, and so we started to strategically partner ourselves with other people that had those special skill sets. So Ryan and I focus very much on relations and raising money, but also relations, raising money, and then financial type due diligence and financial asset management. And then we partnered with other operators who had a different skill set. That allowed us to learn from people that were high level at something that we weren't and provide value, something we were high level on that they were not high level on, right? And then we could figure out what characteristics these people had and bring in the employee or team member that fits that so we could scale and grow that way.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Dude, thank you for taking a minute to kind of explain that. I think that's super, super, super valuable.
The key, in my opinion, man, is people don't take the time to plan. They just dive in full force because you want to know why, man. Planning takes patience, and when you're planning, you don't really feel like you're moving the needle forward.
Right.
But in reality, planning allows you to move the needle forward in the right direction.
Yeah.
So Ryan and I, we planned, right? We truly thought through not just the short term, but the long term. And if you're not thinking of the long-term execution, you will fail in the short term.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have to think in the long term, have hope for the long term, have, clarity as much as you can for the long term, but take immediate massive action today to build those things up. So So full circle, you and your team need to plan, man, and you need to figure out what the long term is and make sure that your actions are in line with the long term.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. It's kind of right in line with one of the other questions that we're going to bring up here in a minute. But question number 3, what was the pivotal moment in your life that promoted you to make change to grow your net worth, and which values/ideas guided your decision at that time?
Pivotal moments in my life. I'll bullet point it. Let me say this. So one was just growing up, like pivotal moment. I mentioned there's a time when my mom's car got, I thought it was being stolen, but it was, repossessed. Mm-hmm. There was a time where we didn't have very much food in the pantry. And I would literally go to other friends' houses after school to get and there was enough to meet our needs. I want to make this clear, but there wasn't, an easy snack type thing. It's and I remember, this might sound so simple, but I'm telling you, there's a guy named Key Daly. I love Key to death, man. He was one of my little league coaches, and one of the biggest male role model figures of my life. I love him. And so, Key, if you're listening to this, I love this guy, man. Yeah. Love him. And he dropped off a bunch of corn dogs and hot dogs. He worked at the meat packing plant, and dropped off a whole bunch of corn dogs, hot dogs off to our house. I don't know what motivated him to do that. I have no idea. Yeah. But that I knew I wanted to be in a position to give back. I knew I wanted to be in a position to help other people and do little things like that. Had a huge impact on me. He probably doesn't even remember that, but it had a huge impact on me. And then just multiple, getting laid off from a job, and literally fear, panic of oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to survive this? I never wanted to have that situation again, ever. Yeah. Pivotal moment of buying my first, property and getting renters and realizing man, okay, this could actually be something, seeing that. There's pivotal moment when I had a big contract that I did for my web business, and I lost that contract, and that was a blow, because I still to this day don't even really understand, what the heck happened. Yeah, what happened? Yeah, and that was a blow. But you know what that did? That was around the same time, man, that I found out I was becoming a dad. And it was also the same time that I learned about multifamily real estate. And so it made me very open to I was very, very open to, what's interesting, man? I was getting a little comfortable, right? But that made me highly uncomfortable. And once again, this fear of man, I'm about to become a dad. And the only thing that I ever knew that I wanted to be was a dad, dude. Yeah. So I was excited about that, but I was not. But I wanted to be a dad that was there to provide in all aspects, right? And I was nowhere near that. And my life was very unbalanced, and so that was a pivotal moment for me. There's lots of them, but do you know what, dude? That helped create these values. Values is one part of the question, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Which values and ideas guided you to make the decision at that time?
Yep. So that right there. So I told you about Key, I wanted to be able to be in a position to give back. People that helped my family, man, it really had a huge impact on me. But I wanted to be in a position where I wasn't having to ask for help. Yeah. I've been on both sides of that, dude. But then just being, peace of mind of knowing that nobody could just come pull the rug out from underneath me. That the only person that can pull the rug out from underneath me is me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Uh-huh. I want to be there. Yeah. That's what I want. Right. That motivated me freaking massively. But I create these all the time, dude. All the time in my life, I create these of these little moments of one of them. If I can give an example, when our content team, content team rolled out at the same time, which is crazy. Yeah. And that was, I think we had this conversation, but I remember sitting in bed being my gosh, man, what the frick did I do? Am I difficult to work with? What happened there? I'm dude, I'm just and then I all of a sudden I'm oh, this is the test. Oh shit, this is a test. Because something else happened that same time where we realized that we needed to make a move. We're moving our whole operations, by the way, to Orlando, Florida. Our whole operation. That's so these multiple things, and I'm literally laying in bed and just being like, man, what the hell, man? And then I like had this like, is this a test? Holy shit, making this up, dude.
Yeah.
It's not a test. Somebody didn't come down and write this test, and they're like, here we go. Let's see how they handle it. But in my mind, I'm like, this is a test right now.
Yeah.
This is a test. Dude, how we handle this, how we overcome this is going to be part of my legacy.
Yeah.
This is going to be part of our legacy. If we overcome this, we can overcome anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want to create these all the time.
Dude, it's interesting. It's interesting because it's similar with one of the first answers you gave to the first question is that you create those. You create. What did you say? You said you create that narrative.
Yeah.
You decide what's happening.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting. I think it's an interesting thing to note here. In both of those situations, you decide what's going on. You take control. You take ownership, and you become the master of that situation.
Ownership.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That ownership. And ownership's, people think ownership's hard. I actually think being the victim is hard because then you're not in control. But if I tell myself, if we tell ourselves that we are the ones, we dictate the narrative, what's going on, we can control the outcome, you know? That's just powerful. That's a lot easier. That's another thing you guys talked about in your extended cut, I think, is your choose your heart or something.
Yeah. Choose your different. That was
God, just pulling all sorts. I'm just going to regurgitate the drip, dude.
No.
That's it.
So that's awesome. A couple things I want to point out here with your answer is the question almost seemed like it was looking for one pivotal moment that completely changed everything for you, but it doesn't sound like that was the case.
No. People think that's the case.
Right. I think a lot of times people say their success story will tell the success story that it's the one thing that happened that made them want to do that, but in reality, I don't think that's how it is for anybody.
No. And do you know what? Do you know what happens?
Yeah.
I believe, and I'm not saying that this person asking this question was this case. I have no idea. But I believe sometimes people say that or ask that or wonder that because they're like, man, I haven't had that moment in my life. And I haven't, we're always looking for ways to justify why we haven't done what we haven't done, right?
Right.
And so it's like, man, I haven't had that. Like, I didn't grow up and, have struggles, or I didn't whatever, Dude, I'm a storyteller, and I tell myself stories, good ones and bad ones, right? And I want to and I swear to God, that's what I do. So I want to tell stories that motivate me to death, And once again, fear motivates me, So it's what story, what narrative are you telling? And I'm telling this. I'm fine. Literally, bro, I'll go look for things and be like, yep, that was it. That thing motivated me. Can I give you an example?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember exactly what this related to, but God, man, I can't remember all of a sudden exactly what it was, but I was talking to Britt, and I was like, man, I was just telling her that I appreciated her, and then I was like, man, because I've had a bunch of, failures, and there's times where I just felt lost, and she's like, well, hold on, I want to be very clear, like, I don't. What do you mean you felt lost? What do you mean you weren't moving at all? And I was like, well, what are you talking about? Like, no, like this time period. She's like, yeah, but that was not a long time period. I was like, yes, it was. It seemed like an eternity to me. In her mind, her narrative was everything's fine, but my narrative was very different. My narrative was things are not fine, dude.
Yeah,
I need to get this done right freaking now. And I need to move to make sure, But how she remembers it, she doesn't think it was a big deal. But how I remembered it was massive deal. Like literally, like I wondered if she would lose faith in me as a person, and it wouldn't even. It didn't even. Yeah. She doesn't even hardly. It's like a blip for her.
Right.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I try to create those things, dude. Can I give you even an example right now?
Yeah.
Wade is here, and he's here. Redoing our wall. Okay, he's doing some work in here, and you text me this morning. I think it was this morning.
Yeah, I tell you. Yeah.
And it was like who wanted cash, right? Yeah. So I'm sitting here, and I was like, oh man, okay, I need to run the ATM, and I have an account. Most of my accounts are stateside Chase, Bank of America, but then I have one account here that is just a random account, and so literally in my mind, because I don't like money in my account. Money in my account makes me feel comfortable, and comfort is of the devil. And that might sound funny, but I literally believe comfort's of the devil.
Yeah.
And so I literally use, it's $400 or something. And in my mind, bro, I'm like, shit, do I have enough cash in there to pull up 400? hope I have enough cash. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, I think I have close to $900 to $1,000 in there. No, I have $100,000 in there. I have $100,000 in there. And I'm like, oh no, I think I should be okay. But in my mind, I'm telling you, bro, in my mind, this random account I have less than 1,000. Why? Because I don't want to know that I have any sort of money. I don't, dude. I want that. I want that discomfort.
Right.
Some people want the comfort. No, I want the discomfort, dude, because I know what that leads to.
Yeah. No, that's huge. That's an actionable for sure. For sure. Okay, one more question as we wrap up here. Is there anything else you wanted to add along that one?
That just seemed kind of douchey.
What?
Talk about what was just in my account. Right? They're just a little rando account. That seemed a little douchey, but I don't mean that to sound douchey.
No. Because what you're teaching there is you need to create those even when things are going well, you need to create those opportunities. You need to create that feeling and that emotion of, oh shit, I gotta move. I gotta go. I gotta work.
This is why my other accounts. This is why I'm dumping those into real estate all the time, man. Because I want it because it makes me feel poor.
Yeah.
When in reality, then all of a sudden, in reality, it's not. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. No, totally. I think that's an important thing. So I don't think it sounds douchey at all. Question number 4. What advice would you give someone that's okay? What advice would you give to someone that's part of a team but feels like they're moving in a different direction than where you want?
They're part of a team, but the team is moving in a different direction than that person, or than that person wants them.
It to. Yeah. Have you ever been in a situation like that? Let's start there.
Yes.
How'd you go about handling that?
It's one of the times that honestly, it's one of the things that led to me partnering with Ryan.
Okay.
Because I wanted to go a direction of syndication and taking down these big deals, and I was having kickback on the other end. But it was very clear. I had very clear communication with my partners at that point of like, this is what I want to do. This is what I think we should do. This is what I'm thinking that we should. And they didn't have that same drive. They didn't have that same thought process, right? And then Ryan just kept freaking providing value, and I was like, shit, dude, I got to partner with Ryan, man.
Yeah.
It's just making sense. Like, he didn't leave me any other option, Thank God. And so yes, dude, I've felt that. But honestly, what it comes down to, and this relates to anything: marriage, team members, employees, business partners. It's communication, man. I would say, why are they moving in that? First, have you asked them that? 2 things: why are they moving in that direction? What is that direction? Have you actually asked them and had that communication with them? Have you actually voiced your concern, or are you just internally talking about it, wondering about it, and not voicing it with them? I bet that's the case. And I don't know, right? Once again, I don't know. And whoever asked that question may think that that's a dick answer, but I don't care, because I am here to answer a question that you want a true answer to, and it allows me to give a true answer without offending you.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know who asked the question and who it is, but I'm going to tell you, it's probably more about you than anything. I don't know that. Right? I don't know that. I just told you an example where I had to pivot on the other end.
Yeah.
But you have to look internally, and are you communicating that with them? Are you having those tough conversations? Because so many people don't want to have those tough conversations. You want to know why? Because they're tough. But what's your business partnership look like? Who's the visionary? Who's the leader there? Do you trust him? If you don't trust him, why did you put him as the visionary?
Yeah.
If you do trust him, have you asked them, why is this the direction? Why is this the vision? How do you see this getting to our goal? Do we know what our goal is as a team, or do you not know? Because if you don't know what your goal is as a team, you can freaking get lost in a whole bunch of directions. But if you're very clearly defining what that goal is, then you can come down to this statement of being like, it's called a desired end state. This desired end state that you're getting to. Have you defined what that is? Because then every decision you make, this definite major purpose, desired end state, whatever, every decision you make, a definite major purpose is within my own personal life. A desired end state is what we do this as a company base. Right?
Yeah.
Any company that we have, it's like, okay, this is what we're looking to get to, and it's not a like X number of units. It's like, because that doesn't necessarily really take you to where you want to be. A desired end state, to explain this, is something that is more. Should I explain where I learned this or no?
Yeah, I think you should for sure.
I took a mentorship program with some Navy SEALs, still do it to this day, and one of them will be speaking at Peak.
Very excited to listen to him. Yeah.
His name's Larry Yatch, and he's freaking amazing. And he talked about this, and he talked about how in the SEALs, their mission was never to go blow up a building. Because maybe they get to that building, there's kids inside. Well, okay, now you're not going to blow up the building, which means now your mission has failed. But has it really? Because that's not really the mission, is never to blow up a building. Your mission is to, the example I gave is to strengthen the community, to build safety within the community, to enrich the community, whatever. And so if you can do that without blowing up the building, obviously, because you went there and you know that there's kids there and that's not the best route to take, well, then your mission is still a success. Because it accomplished the goal, right?
Right.
But so many times we attach it to the wrong things. Right. So your desired end state needs to be something that gives you some room to pivot, but it's very clear direction, because then as you know what that is, then you can make every decision in line with that.
Yeah.
And if you and your team aren't making decisions in line with that, then you're going to struggle. But if you haven't even defined it, well, then you're
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You
it's
have
impossible.
to define the desired end state, meet collectively together as a team, and continue to move down that path. And if you feel like you're off base, then you need to bring each other back together. And if that's not the case and you can't do that, well, then you have to make decisions, right?
Yeah.
But most of the time it's communication, and I bet your communication sucks.
Okay, dude, I think that's awesome. So short answer for if your team's moving in a different direction and you're not liking the direction in which it's moving, short answer is probably you guys need to have a planning session.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier.
You guys need to have a meeting. You guys need to figure out what's the definite major purpose and why are we moving in the direction that we are.
And do you know why people don't do that too? It's because they're like, well, shit, I don't know. What's possible? Where should we be moving? What should we be doing? Well, those are better questions.
Yeah.
If you truly sat down and actually answered those questions.
Now we can figure it out.
Instead of just disregarding them because they're fearful that they don't know the answer. Well, if you sit down, you answer the question, you know? Yeah.
Oh, man, so huge. Tyler, thank you.
I loved this, bro.
Yeah, I think we need to do this more often for
Yes.
sure. I love these Q&A episodes. We should throw it in.
That was fun.
Once a month?
You name it, bro.
I like that, man. I think we do it. So if you're listening, keep sending them in.
Yeah, if you liked this, I would like to know what
yeah, definitely.
your thoughts are. Do you did you like this route? And I want to know that.
Yeah, definitely let us know. Growthcast at themultifamilymindset.com. Shoot us an email with your feedback and other questions that we can throw in. I got a whole bunch of DMs. These are just 4 of the questions that we decided to pull. So definitely we'll definitely be doing some more of these other questions moving forward. Sweet. But it is Aloha Friday, so we must have an Aloha value.
Let's do it, dude.
What is it this week?
Imua.
Okay.
Imua. Do you know what that one means?
You're about to teach me, though.
Imua means to move forward or to move ahead toward a goal.
Okay.
To move forward. Think about everything that we just talked about, or a lot of what we just talked about. It's Imua, man. Imua means moving forward towards a goal. You know, it's used to signify loyalty or to express this deep commitment towards a feeling, an idea, and a cause that you're working towards, your definite major purpose, your desired end state, whatever that is. King Kamehameha, the first, if I remember, is the one who made Imua famous. Okay? And he's the one, by the way, who unified the islands. That's King Kamehameha the first. So this idea of Imua reminds us that we're stronger as one, man. We're stronger as one, meaning together as one. So you think about the last question we just asked about. 2 of those questions were about teams moving in different directions, what you should be doing. Yeah. You should be think about any team. You're working together towards a goal, each having your own individual roles. Baseball, you got a shortstop, you got a pitcher, you got a second baseman, you got a first baseman, third baseman, outfield. All of you are moving towards that specific goal. Same with football. Same with any team. It should be the same thing. So the meaning of Imua teaches us to certainly be headstrong, but to go at it with all of our might, right? And reminds us to hold on to our values and our culture and everything that we're looking to accomplish. To turn pain into power, loss into lessons, and no matter what, you just freaking move forward. You forget to wake up, you move your ass forward. You get stuck in a rut, you stand up, you move yourself forward. You get stuck in a negative internal narrative, well, you change your internal narrative. Yeah, move forward.
I love it. Tyler, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, bro. I love
doing these episodes with you. This is a fun new way that we can add some value as well with these Q&As. So thank you. Do you want to give us the send off?
Woo! If you're in peak partnership, man, come say hello today. And to all y'all out there, to everyone out there, live always with aloha. Peace.